Well, happy Friday, everybody. How are you?
Great. How about you?
Good, good, good. Enjoying some rain here in Texas.
Here in Louisiana.
Very much needed. I don't see any of my squirrel was here this morning, but I guess he's hiding because it's actually raining right now. So anyway, so we got some new people. I got a Pamela, and I know Beverly and Amber, they just joined my boot camp. Pamela, have you joined us before?
I have not. I'm new.
Okay, great. I thought your face looked unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found your blog before, and then I found it again the other day, and I didn't realize that you had a group, so I was really excited to join that. I was looking at your SEO course.
Okay, good deal.
Mm-hmm.
We're always excited to get new people on here. So just so how we do this, we do it every Friday. Oh, Megan's joining us. We alternate. So like this week it's at noon. Next week it'll be at 10 a.m. So we flip-flop each week because just people have different times that they can come. So, but it's kind of every once in a while I'll do like a scheduled topic or something, like an actual training. But usually it's just come and ask whatever you got questions about or need help with. I guess it's like office hours, some people call it. But anyway, it's kind of a free-for-all. So feel free to dominate the conversation. Otherwise, I do all the talking. And I want to make sure that I'm answering whatever questions you guys have. So, hi, Megan. Glad you could finally join us. Well, I see her. Oh, there she is.
I'm so excited to join today. I'm really glad I could make it.
Yay. All right, so who wants to go first? What's everybody working on? What do you need help with? What is your biggest blogging question? Oh, boot camp students, this week we're talking about avatar. So if it's anything about that, we can talk about that. But once we get into meat and potatoes of the course, reserve those questions for our Wednesday, just so I can respect the fact that you paid for that information. Okay, what you got for me?
Mine's an avatar question.
Okay.
I did some research, like you're defining your avatar, that free little course suggests. And as you said, some of the things I found out were surprising. So I'll just use somebody else as an example and not mine, because we had a bunch of people talking about homeschooling. Mm-hmm. So let's say I'm a homeschooling mom and I've got all these categories in my head or things that I'm good at or I know something about that I think I could write about. But the questions on my blog or on my research all came up with something like, I need help with science or whatever. And it's like, as a homeschool mom, I don't worry about science because my kids go to the neighbors down the street and she teaches them science. So it is not on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
Then does that mean if that was a high ranking thing, then basically what I need to do is I need to research about science and learn about it myself. I'm going to need to write about that if I'm going to serve that person, right?
Sort of, but not really. So just because it's on your website doesn't mean you physically have to create said resource, right? Okay. So something like, let's just do a general search query, resources for homeschool science preschool. Right? Because usually homeschoolers look for it by age group or whatever.
Right.
So if that was the search query, well, you don't have to produce all those. You don't have to literally create that stuff. There's tons of other homeschool moms out there who already have invented those wheels. And so you link to their content, right? Okay. Like you got to do, like the people also ask questions. We're going to talk about that in week 5, how to do the research for the actual post. But if it's a search query that you're seeing a lot of people in what you're trying to reach are asking, and so in homeschool, you might want to go as far as say we're talking about preschool. I will say that if you're doing homeschool, stick to an age. Don't try to be all things homeschool, at least in the beginning, like focus on preschoolers or focus on middle or whatever, right? And so you might have some like literally resources for preschool homeschool or preschool science. And then you might have free printables for preschool science, right? So you look at those search queries, but then go find another blogger who has all that. And now you're getting traffic to your site. So they find out all your other great stuff, but you're also referring traffic to those other people who have already created that stuff. Like the whole thing is, you don't have to do it all, and we're better together. Like each one of us has a piece that we're really good at. So find a good homeschool science person and link to their content in your content.
So yes and no. If I don't write about, and I'm not writing about homeschooling, so that's not my deal, but if I don't write about it, I'm at least going to have to do the research and find somebody who writes well about that thing.
Correct. So yes, you should have those keyword search queries on your site, but no, you don't have to literally create it.
Okay.
The goal is getting traffic to you, right? Mm-hmm. And so even though this one thing might not be your total area of focus, remember the goal is getting the people to your site, the bait, so to speak, so that they can see the other stuff, right? And so in this situation, science is part of homeschool, so you should have something for that search query. Okay. But you don't have to make all the stuff that you're offering. I have a lot of those on my site, like Bible study resources and things like that. I don't write Bible studies. I call it like kind of roundup posts is what you might call it, like places to find this or that. You need a little more meat in there, like content about why they're good or how difficult it may be or what age, whatever, the conversation, but then linking to the actual resource. So all my Bible study stuff which is the resource type, like Bible study printables, Bible study this. The only thing I make is the coloring pages. All the other stuff that I link, that I've got content that's driving traffic, is actually roundups linking to other people's stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Next, or I'll start singing.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have 5 kids and work full time, so I'm having trouble just narrowing my focus, like Pinterest or SEO. I'm trying to write more SEO posts right now. I just restarted my site from scratch because I had to separate my content and niche down more. So I'm just not sure where to put my focus on with the little amount of time I have.
What is your site about? Like, what is your focus?
It's just a Christian mom blog. So like the post I have now is how to make it to church on time. Sunday morning routine with kids, more so focusing on busy moms with large families.
I would say for now, stop writing and focus your avatar. Figure out what she's looking for on the internet as it pertains to what your ministry wants to serve. So Christian moms, of course, getting to church on time, something basically that falls into organization and productivity. I would say, like how to stay organized and keep the house going when you got 5 kids and you work full time. But then what other things? So I would narrow it to 3 categories. You want to help mom and maybe her spiritual growth. So stuff for her, learning the Bible, all of that. And then maybe the momming stuff, like getting the kids all to be in line and orderly, like a military family or something, right? Like how to get to church on time, how to do this, how to manage this and that. And then something else. So figure out all the things you'd like to write about. And that's what you could do. Literally just write down, this is your brainstorming page, write down 10 to 20 blog post topic ideas. And then take all of that and separate them into 3 categories. What do they most fall into?
Right. And I think that's what I'm having trouble with, is figuring out my category. I think right now I just have faith, and then I have 4 moms, and then like kids, because like I don't know what else to put there. So that's a good idea to do that.
You could, and again, all mom blogs are different. All Christian mom blogs are different. So you have the spiritual nourishment for mom. You have the parenting. So like that organization, how to keep the homemaking side of things might be one. Like including the stuff about your relationship with your spouse, the spouse,
right?
So many different things.
Yeah.
But then also, if you're one of those, what I call Pinterest cricket moms, I used to be, but I never came out of it. And then my family's like, where you been? I'm like, I was with cricket. I had to get that up. But if that's your thing, if you're good with crafts and all of that, that stuff, that could be a category, like kids activities or something. You could include biblical type activities to help the kids grow, but then also just other fun activities. Because, as a Christian mom, we don't just give our kids Bible activities. We give them other creative, fun stuff to do. Those are huge searches on the internet right now because everyone's stuck at home. So just figure out, like, beyond just the Bible nourishment and the mom stuff, hashtag mom life, is there something else that you're good at that also applies to something mom does? Or again, it could also add the part about just the family discipleship, like family relationship, husband, spouse, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, there's so many things. Just figure out the 3 that you feel you could write, because it's ultimately coming down to, is anybody searching for it?
Right.
I don't know if a mom is actually going, what did you call it? How to get to church on time? Like, is that actually what people are looking for? Right. Like, you could write about that in your emails once you get an email list going way later. But right now, of those 3 categories, then you start researching, you know, like spiritual encouragement for moms. You could Google that and see if there's search query. Bible studies for moms, you know, that kind of stuff. So also remember, or know that if you were never told this, a lot of times in the beginning, we tend to think of, when I write a blog post, it needs to be I guess like a how to do this or that, or I'm here to encourage you on this or that.
Yeah.
But that's not all they would be searching for. Like I said, the top 5 podcasts for busy moms, the top 5 Bible studies for mothers with small children. That's not an encouraging post. That's a resource post. That's something moms are looking for so she can go buy it or download it or whatever. So you have to intermix the, what I call resource type content, along with the how to do this or that content.
Yeah.
So, and then, so like I said, stop writing, just stop. Because I mean, it's not getting any organic growth. So you're basically writing to no one. So step back, do your research, establish your structure, which that is your categories. Your categories are your blog structure. And then do the research to come up with about 10 different, 5 to 10 different blog post ideas for each category. And then do the research to see how or if people are actually searching for that on the internet. Sometimes the way you type it in, maybe they're not typing that in, but over on the website, if you use keywords everywhere, it'll give you other variations to understand how people are searching for it.
Gotcha. I do have that too. That's a good tool.
And so as a busy mom with all the, and a working mom as well, if you get all that research done and then you have your plan, then it should be pretty easy for you to knock out 1 post a week. And that's really all you have to do. Don't worry about an email list. Don't worry about social media. Just get your blog going.
Yeah. And I have I've actually had my blog for over a year, and I had to separate it because all of my content was mom stuff. So I rebranded and moved that over, and I'm starting this because it was not enough Christian stuff and more so pregnancy and birth and all that other stuff. So I separated that. So,
okay. But yeah, just do take some time, step back, do your research, and then have a plan. Like that's the biggest part. If you're just kind of doing it to do it, but you don't fully have your plan, then you're just wasting time.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that's what I would recommend.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, Lisa just joined us. All right. Who's next? I know y'all just didn't join to look at my beautiful windblown face. I know you have questions. Except for you, Joyce. I know you come every Friday just to see me.
Yes. But I have a question.
Okay.
Do we have a tutorial on internal linking?
We will. In about week 5 and 6 is when we'll cover that.
Okay, because I've done several posts.
Okay.
And I don't think I have links.
Yeah, so your internal, so you have 2 types of links, internal and external. Internal links are to other stuff on your site. External links are, of course, something that's not on your site. So internal links are actually really important for SEO, but they're also important and useful for your readers. So the thing with your blog, it's not a, hey, just come in and browse. Like you should be giving them directions with signs, links. So in a single blog post, you're talking about whatever. you should link to one or two other posts or resource pages on your site that have similar SEO juice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So usually you try to link to other posts in the same category, or like a resource page of, you know, if you were talking about Bible study and it's like, if you'd like more Bible study resources, check out our Bible study library. And so that's not technically a category, it's a page, but it still flows with the SEO juice for what that post is about. And so when you're just getting started, you don't have any other content yet, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But once you get a good, you know, 2 or 3 posts in each category, then go back and link to each other. And then as you write new stuff, as you're writing it, think of older posts that would fit well into that. And then maybe go back to some of those older ones and link to newer stuff as it's appropriate.
Okay.
But no more than like 2. I mean, if it's a super long post, like 3,000 words and maybe more. But the thing is, when you put too many links in a post, like your goal is to get them here and read this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've read some posts where it's like every paragraph had a link, right? And they were internal links, which was, I get it, they're trying to link to other stuff, but it's like, can I just read this already? Can you stop sending me away? Like, I just want to read this, right? Like, seriously, like it's just too many distractions. Plus, if you ever get to the point of like trying to, maybe you have your own product that you're trying to recommend or promote, and it's usually at the end of the post or somewhere lower, they may never come back and see it, right? And so strategic in where you put the links, but overkill can definitely kill it. And so I always say like 2, maybe 3, and use them. There's 2 ways you could put links or should put links. Passive, which is like literally in the paragraph. So let's say I had a paragraph that was like, one of my favorite ways to get more time in the Word is to read a 5-minute pocket devotional, right? And so if I had another post that was the best 5-minute pocket devotionals for busy moms, that was the post, then in that paragraph, in the How to Get More Time with Jesus, where it says I would read my 5-minute pocket devotional, I would hyperlink that to the other post. So that's called link text. You should never say to read more about whatever, click here. Click here has no relevant juice. It's just nothing. So your link text should always have, it doesn't have to be the exact title of the other post you're linking to, but the concept should be in there. So then the other way that I will do it sometimes, if I just can't figure out how to do it passively in the paragraph, in between 2 paragraphs where I'm talking about something, I might say related, and then put the actual title of the other post, but I never say click here. Just click here has no value whatsoever. But yeah, 2 to 3 max. Overkill, they just may never come back.
Okay, so should I wait until after the boot camp to go back and try to correct some of those posts?
Yeah, wait until we finish that lesson. Again, right now, I don't say it's not relevant. Get a bunch of content first so that what you're linking really makes sense. Don't just, well, I have one other post in this category, so I should probably link to that one. But then really, it's not completely related to what this post is about. So get a few posts in and then go back, because really no one's reading it right now anyway. Like you're not indexed, right? It's just the early stages. Get a few, I mean, like, you know, 5 or 10, 2 or 3 posts in each category, and then go back and see what you can do. And some posts you may not have anything yet, but then when you do write something, then come back and link it. Like when I write stuff, even in the beginning, I was already thinking of what other posts I needed to write that would fit well into this post. And I would have that on my to-do planner. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Gotcha.
Good question.
I have a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Megan.
Okay, I have like 2. One's real quick though. So I have been following a lot of stuff, even though this is like my first time being in the group chat. I've taken all of your free courses, and I've like stalked the blog and everything you have on YouTube and all that. So I have a pretty clear avatar and everything of who I have. A marriage blog. It's a Christian marriage blog. My main focus is on like marriages that have either been broken because of like affairs or just marriages who are troubled, basically. So I've been trying to do more of these long tail keywords that you've mentioned and things like that. And I can come up with keywords and then I'll like check them out and it will say like low competition, but high search volume and things like that. The problem that I keep running into is because I do talk a lot about like Christian marriage topics, is that I'm constantly like competing with like Focus on the Family and Crosswalk and other like really big blogs out there. So I'm just trying to figure out like, how can I fix my keywords so that I actually can rank and not be like squashed under all these like really big, well-known blogs that have 1 million followers.
So first off, Crosswalk and I Believe, even though they're high, what I call mainstream Christian sites, so they're like, you know, the big guys.
Yeah.
They are very easy to take out. And while that may not be very, very Christian statement to make, I'm from the military, so some of my correlations fall over. They have high DAs, they've been around forever, they have a huge following. But with those sites, the only common denominator, as far as what folder Google has put them in, is Jesus. They write about everything. So you can beat them out with a Christian marriage type post. Consistency, understanding how to write, how to format the content for really good SEO. Those people also ask questions, the headings and all of that. It's very easy to take them out. And I know this because several of the girls in my membership are past students who were sitting at like a DA -0, like their DA score was like a 9. We're ranking well above them. They were ranking above Dave Ramsey, I Believe, Crosswalk, all those sites, because those sites write about so many different things. So if you stay focused and it's marriage, relationships, right? You can easily take them out or push them to the bottom. Now, some of your like Focus on the Family, it may take you a little longer because they are established, but again, they write about the whole family, not just marriage. So the more Google can figure out that your site is about marriage, then you will get there. Not right away. You got to, you know, you're like the new guy on the block, so to speak, but consistency in your writing, like being very consistent, staying on the marriage relationship type bandwagon, but then also understanding how to write a blog post correctly that Google easily understands and can easily put in first place. And so talking about keywords, I don't believe in keywords. I believe in search queries. So when you mentioned about where it shows search volume, competition, CPC, disable those matrix. The only thing you need to use are you using keywords everywhere? Is that what you use?
I haven't used that yet. I know you recommended that, so I do want to start using it. Right now I'm using what am I saying, the Google like keyword finder thing.
In the Google, like Google app.
Yeah, it's like, what is it called? I think it's just called Google keyword or something like I don't even know what it's called. I'll have to try to look for it.
Like Google Keyword Planner?
Yeah, I mean,
well,
yes, that's it. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I used to use that a long time ago. I like keywords everywhere simply because it's already right here when you're Googling things. And what's missing in Google Keyword Planner is all the other stuff. So in here, how to have a healthy marriage. I'm just making up stuff. So you type that in. Google's telling you, one, how much search volume for that? It's not about a keyword, it's about the search query, right?
Right.
And so sometimes you'll have over here, and even in Google Keyword Planner, you'll have some other, let me use an easy one for me to explain this. So how to show gratitude to God, how to show thanks to God, how to be grateful to God. Those are all the same search query. People just saying it different, right?
Right.
Like some people say Coke, some people say pop. In Texas, you say Dr. Pepper no matter what, right? But we're all looking for the same thing. So the one say how to show gratitude to God might have say 1,000 search volume. How to give thanks to God has maybe 300. Which one should I choose? All of those phrases should be in the post. It doesn't matter what you put in the Yoast keyword box. It doesn't matter. What matters is the content. And the more variables and variations of your query, i.e. your main keyword, the more variations, then you're able to rank for all of them. Google doesn't look at keywords. It looks at, is this content answering a search query? And then it understands 2 and 2 is 4. In other words, if you say gratitude, but somebody else types in thanks, it knows you're talking about the same thing, like that AI that Google has, right?
Right.
And so why I love this one versus any other, this is like the cheap, I know Google Keyword Planner is free, but it doesn't give you all this other stuff. So let's just say for this search query, how to have a healthy marriage. These questions, these are important. Google's giving you the research. It's saying based on this, people are also asking this. Ergo, you should have at least some of these answered and mentioned in the post, right? Mm-hmm. And these most likely would be some headings. Now, not all of them might not make sense, but the ones that do, you should have them. And so the more these people also ask some of these things that are listed at the bottom, the more of these that are in your content, that's how you take out focus on the family, crosswalk, I believe, Dave Ramsey, and anybody else.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I did. Okay, good. So, because I did like one of your courses that I think it was like a $12 course, and you gave like a printable where it said like, you know,
also write a blog post.
Yeah, like it said like people also search for this, and like these are, so I've been doing that, and I've been trying to like really incorporate that, which it made so much sense when you said, you know, some of these things should be like put in place as headings and things, and I do think it's making a difference. So I guess basically overall, I just need to keep being consistent and, you know, because I mean, I've been trying to do that, but it's only probably been the last like month or two that I've been
it's going to take really a little longer than that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I kind of figured. So, and my other this is a quicker question. So, I know that you have on the Kingdom Bloggers website that you do like a site audit. Mm-hmm. Can you just tell me a little bit like what's involved when you do that site audit? Like what would you explain? Like, because I've been doing like these, the free audit, I don't even know how to say it. It's like AF, whatever that word is. It's like
Ahrefs.
Yes.
Yeah. Ahrefs gives you a bunch of techie stuff that.
And I'm so lost.
Yeah. I'm so lost. Don't even worry about that audit that it gives you. It tells you about broken links and some other stuff. Yeah. And there are some things in there you do want to fix, but overall, there's a lot of stuff in there I ignore. It's like every week you still need to fix this. And I'm like, yeah, get around to it. It's not critical for the success of your blog, right? But that's not the kind of audit. So the audit that I do, I take a look around your site. I look at your, as me as a visitor to your site, do I understand your site structure? In other words, what are your categories? Can I easily find stuff? Is the navigation simple? The layout, is it good for user experience? Are there distractions? So that's one part of it. And then there's like a questionnaire that you have to do. And you tell me like your last 5 blog posts and what the keywords, I take a look at them to see how you have them organized. Most people who do the audit have no idea what they're doing. And like, to put it in perspective, usually the answer I get to what are the last 5 blog posts and what was the ranking keyword. And the keyword for each one is like one word. Like the keyword for this post is spiritual. I'm like, okay, we need to talk, right? I think you're a little beyond that. If you've done all my stuff, I think better thing for you would be maybe to plan for the next boot camp. Because we go through that step by step. We work through all of the things. We spend a whole week on formatting. Y'all you have an assignment, which is to write a post and do an outline and a post, and you give it to me. I don't really grade it, but I give you feedback on it. And so we do that through the course. And so when everyone leaves, they have the basic understanding of all that stuff. We go deep into your back end SEO and we do a lot of that stuff. And so it's over an 8-week period. I would say that would be better for you versus the audit, because I don't think the audit would tell you anything you haven't already learned from me.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'd love to take your money, but I'd like to get
no, I appreciate that. I'm probably better off putting that towards, you know, saving up for the next boot camp. So I appreciate that. Okay. All right. Thanks so much. That really helped.
Yeah, it's truly, I know a lot of bloggers teach, you got to you got to get your DA up, build those backlinks, get your DA. DA is important. Backlinks are important, but at a certain time and certain niches. Fortunately, the Christian, the faith niche, no matter what aspect of it you are, isn't competitive. When I mean competitive, so me, I write blogging stuff too, right? I teach SEO, but there is no way I will ever expect my content, no matter how well I write it, to rank with, to beat out Yoast or Moz, who are SEO experts, right? That is a competitive niche. Finance is a competitive niche. Medical, some of those other ones are not just competitive, but they're, what I use the word restricted. They're YMYL categories, and Google's very touchy in how they deal with them. And so you have to be established in those in order to even make progress. But the sites that we see, like I said, Crosswalk, I believe, Dave Ramsey, some of those other, even Focus on the Family, they're high DAs and they're dominating simply because nobody else has come in and done it the right way. Google, they're a super Walmart, right? They write about everything. The only common denominator, like on Crosswalk, I believe in all those, is the faith part, but they don't focus on any one part of it. And so if you Google, there's a lot of stuff that you could Google, like give it to God. That's a huge search volume. My little measly old site was ranking above Crosswalk, and I believe like my first year, right? And so many updates with the algorithm of how Google wants content. Those other sites, the stuff's just there and they're sitting easy because they're on page one, but they're not going back and updating stuff. So if you come in and write it the correct way for Google, they're going to be like, oh, I know where this goes. I'm going to put you right there. And you're like, oh my gosh, I beat out Dave Ramsey. And that's actually happened. Several of my past students who had like DAs of 9 or 12 were beating them out. And they're like DAs of 80s and 90s. So it's not impossible. You just have to learn the tweaks and also understanding search query versus focusing on keywords.
Right.
A big thing about the keywords, like you read someone's post and you're like, oh, they must be trying to rank for this keyword, really? Because it's like every other paragraph has that exact phrase over and over. And you're like, okay, I get it. That's not user friendly. Using the variables, which are the other ways that people search that search query, the variables of your concept, in place of those. And when you do that, you most likely won't get a green light for Yoast, and that's okay. But your content sounds good and you have those other words sprinkled throughout the content. So eventually you'll rank for all of them. Like I have posts on Kingdom that are ranking for probably 2,000 keywords. Some of those keywords aren't even technically in the post, but Google figures out 2 and 2 equals 4, right? So that's the key to being able to rank for more and more keywords, not paying for Yoast so you can have extra keywords, not putting extra words in the keyword box. Just write a good piece of content that satisfies the search query no matter how someone types it in. Right. I make it sound so easy. I mean, once you figure it out, it kind of is, but
yeah.
All right. Okay, and yeah, go ahead, Jackie.
I have several questions.
That's okay.
I started out wanting 1 and now I have about 4.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, number 1 on the Nofollow, is that in your any of the information that's given, or is that a?
So I think it's in the Jesus Online course, and we'll talk about it in, well, we did go through it in the boot camp. I don't remember what week we did it for you, but basically the Nofollow, I don't think Gutenberg has the default setting for it yet. So you can get like the REL Nofollow checkbox plugin, and that's what I have. And then when you go to link, like add the link, like you hyperlink the words, put in your link that you're going to link it to, there's a little tick box that pops up that says Nofollow. But I have that plugin. So I don't know if Gutenberg has that as a default setting. So apparently it doesn't if you're not seeing it. And so you do it manually anytime you add like an affiliate link. If you're not using affiliate links, you don't need Nofollow.
Okay.
For links, yeah.
I was wanting to know the use of it too.
Yeah,
okay.
So Nofollow links. So with your links, so when the crawlers come into your site, they crawl every single link. The links on your navigation menu, the links in the posts themselves. every link sort of adds to or takes away from a grade, so to speak, your SEO juice grade, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's where backlinks and stuff come into play later on. But this is why it's important that your link text, things you're linking to, the words match the SEO juice, right? But sites over time build credibility with the backlinks. Well, with affiliate links or sponsored content, Google doesn't want basically people to attain dominance by paying for it. And what I mean is, if you have an affiliate link, they're paying you to put that link on their site. Because I mean, obviously you got to make the sale, but there's a chance that you will make money from it. And so because of that, Google wants the no follow, and that just tells the crawler, do not enter. Like it'll follow, like the reader will be able to click it, but the crawler will not enter that to use that as a grading point.
Okay.
So anytime it's an affiliate link, or if you ever do sponsored content where somebody pays you like $100 to write a blog post about their product, that's a sponsored post. Then anytime you link to their product or their company, those have to be no follow as well.
Okay. Okay. You know, I haven't done it yet, but with I think Google Analytics, I need to remove me from the people that come through.
Yes, filter
readers. Mm-hmm. And you said that was in where in the information?
So I think with yours, we're going to I got to find another tutorial because yours is the new G4, which looks different than those who've had Google Analytics. And I have to find you a video because I don't have that. My Google Analytics is the old format. I don't like the new format, so I'm not switching. But apparently if you're new, that's the only option you have. So I'm going to find that video and I'll send you the tutorial for how to find it in your dashboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the other things is the link to our past boot camp.
Mm-hmm. The playlist.
I need the link.
Okay, I'll send you that when we're done. I'm going to write that note here. Send Jackie number 8 playlist. Yeah, I'll send that to you as soon as we're done.
Okay, and then I've got a table of contents plugin, and I have a couple of posts in there that I had before I got it. So how do you get it to work for?
Which plugin are you using? Is it the one I have, the Lucky WP?
No. I think it's the Gutenberg. It's with Gutenberg.
Okay, so I will have to research. I use an actual plugin. I don't use the one that's built into Gutenberg to know how those settings work.
But it's their plugin, I think.
So if you go to your plugins and all plugins, install plugins, does it show up in that list?
Yes.
So find it on the list and see if there's a set that says settings. There'll be a button that says deactivate. See if it has a settings and click there and it should open up. So let me show you mine. It should look something like this. Settings, contents. So I have the Lucky WP. I had it before I switched over to Gutenberg and I like it. So check the settings to see if it gives you the ability to put it in automatically. So you don't manually have to do it. In mine, I have it set for auto insert. And it's going to put it before my first H2. So I don't have to do anything. Once I put that first H2 in the post, it's going to, when I publish the post, the table of contents will be right before that.
Okay.
And so if you have that setting and you do that, then it should automatically put it in the old content that you've published.
Okay. And I was going to ask you, do you have any spots left for devotions for your website? Remember you had told us.
Yeah, I have to look and see. I have my topics all the way out through June. I may have one or two that haven't been called dibs yet. So I can let you know when I send you this playlist. Here's the topics I have. And then if you want to write one of them, you can do that. I think May is finished. Like I've got all of May's committed. I think I might have 2 left for June that still needed someone to call dibs on.
Okay.
Yeah, let me write that down. Jackie Tebow topics. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Leslie, what is the name of the Nofollow plugin you recommend? So the one I'm using is called, they changed the name of it. REL. It's called REL Nofollow Checkbox. And I've used that one for years. I had it on my other site before I started Kingdom Bloggers, and that's just the one I've always used. It just has a tick box when you add the link. It's just right, the box is like right there. And yes, so if you link to an Amazon product, if you are an affiliate, if you're not an affiliate yet and you're just linking to products, then you don't need to make it Nofollow. But once you become an affiliate, then yes, they need to be Nofollow. Okay.
Leanne.
Yes, ma'am.
On the, I called myself, when we talked about it once before, I called myself trying to find that Lucky WP plugin, but I couldn't. I saw another Lucky something, but it wasn't what you were talking about. What does that look like? What does that plugin look like on the website?
So it's Lucky WP, one word, table of contents.
There, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's Lucky, capital W, capital P, but it's all one word. There's no space between Lucky and WP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. What else? Y'all got some good questions today.
We've been waiting for you.
Y'all are like, you've been in the garden long enough. It's time to get back to work.
Come out. Time to come out.
Yes, Jackie.
Well, I forgot my question.
Okay, well, let me know when you remember.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Really? Nobody else has questions? Y'all are probably just way overwhelmed and don't know what your questions are yet. Play some Jeopardy music in the background.
I forgot my question.
So here's the wonderful thing about SEO. And I mean, yes, there's Pinterest. Yes, there's social media and all that. But when you invest your time in learning and implementing SEO, it's really not scary. Once you get it, you're like, oh, well, that wasn't so hard. Like, it's not a techie kind of thing. A lot of the like Yoast and Moz and those websites, actually the way they teach it, it's very techie. Like I don't even understand half of what the emails I get from them, but yet I teach this stuff. So once you actually can learn the bigger picture of how it works, it's actually very, very simple. The amount of time you invest in SEO comes back to you tenfold. The amount of time you invest in Pinterest, depending on what week it is, could come back one-fold or half-fold, right? Because Pinterest is so moody and it's just never it's just never happy. It always has to change stuff. And then you get on the bandwagon of what do I got to do now to stay good with Pinterest? Just forget Pinterest. Pinterest is not your friend. Pinterest is a great additional, like it can bring you some additional traffic, but you have to be careful in how much time you spend, how much time you feed it. I am all about, I don't want to say time management because truth be told, I don't manage my time very well. Like I may look good to y'all on camera here, but my stuff's a mess. But what I do, I have a goal in mind for it, right? I know my goal, and I've learned what things are not the right fertilizer for that goal, right? So I'm in garden mode, so work with me here, because everything I'm going to correlate is going to have something to do with garden or fishing. So Pinterest, make new pins for all those old blogs. Okay, it takes time to do that. And then Tailwind, it costs money. And then they change the algorithm. And so now the money you paid isn't really working. Go bare basics. Your first year, just go bare basics. Don't pay for Tailwind. Don't pay for all that other stuff. Get your SEO going. A year from now, that post you wrote a year ago will still be bringing you traffic and then some, multiple keywords, even if you never share it on Facebook or Pinterest. Like, if y'all don't know, I post whatever day, my posts go out on Monday and the devotionals on Wednesday. That day I go to the post and I pin it. And then I say, see you next week, Pinterest. Like, I don't schedule pins anymore. I don't do Tailwind. I don't do any of that. I don't manually pin, nothing. Over 85, almost 90% of my traffic comes from Google. I also get traffic from like Yahoo, Bing, and all those other search engines. So almost 90% of my traffic is organic from search engines. From content I wrote, well, I didn't write. I have a team of writers that help me. That was written a year or two ago. That content is still driving traffic, even though I am not chained to Facebook or Twitter or wherever your social media vice is. Social media can be fun. I know Instagram is fun. Instagram doesn't bring blog traffic. It's fun and it's a nice place if you enjoy being there. Do it for you, not and building community. People don't go to Instagram to click links to read blog posts. That's not what they're there for. So understand that. Facebook's just crazy. Like, if you have a Facebook page for your blog, it's almost impossible to get that page to generate traffic for you unless you pay for ads. I have never paid for an ad for Kingdom Bloggers, for Pinterest, Google, Facebook. I just don't do ads. Why pay for something you can get for free, right? And plus, once the ad is over, then all that traffic bump goes back down, right? So do it the natural way. Save your money. I am very cheap. That's no secret. I want to do what I do with as little investment as possible. You don't need all the fancy plugins. You don't need all that stuff to be successful. So the amount of time you put into learning SEO, learning how to write, have an actual plan for the year. Don't just like, ooh, what am I going to write about this week? Do your research. Figure out what your people are looking for. Plan out your content for the whole year so it all comes, it all relates to each other. You have stuff to link to and whatever. And then a year from now, you're going to be like, whoa, like I have traffic, right? And the best part is for those of you who juggle many things, like, oh, well, let me step back. And I mentioned this to the boot camp this week. Pick one thing. Your blog should be that one thing. Forget about growing a social following. Forget about building an email list until your blog is in somewhat of an auto mode. Somewhat. I mean, you still got to work on it. So if your first year, you just put everything into the blog, then in year 2, you can focus on something else. You can't give everything 100%. Give one thing 100%, and it will be as fruitful as it'll be more fruitful than you could imagine. So a little bit about email lists. And I know some of y'all boot campers heard this earlier this week, but for those who aren't in the boot camp, don't build an email list in your first year. I mean, if you already have an email list and they're actually replying to you, don't get rid of them. But unlike most bloggers who say, get those emails from day one, do you even know what you're doing on day one? Do you have a plan? Do you even know what you're supposed to be writing about? Do you? Probably not. An email list, to nurture it, takes a lot of work. So get your blog going a year, right? And then at the end of that year, your 4th quarter, do a recap of the year. What search traffic is bringing most of my readers? Is it prayer journals? Is it this? Is it that? And use that data to decide what type of opt-ins they would be most interested in. That's how you get the right people on your email list for the right reason. And then you need a plan for what am I going to write them every week? That's the biggest question. I have an email list, but I have no idea what to say to them. And I'm like, then why did you create an email list? And like, I'm going to start a ladies group. And then everybody shows up and everyone's like, so what are we doing? You're like, I don't know. I hope you would tell me, right? Like you have a plan for what the group is going to do. Your email list is the same way. If you want it to be fruitful meaning getting more traffic back to your blog. If you plan to monetize, if you're going to create products to sell, get that blog going first so you have a warm audience. Also, once your email list takes off and people do start responding to your emails, that's more time out of your schedule. Because if they wrote you an email, you should be writing back to them, not a thanks for replying, but an actual, because some of these emails, I'm telling you, they're going to be heartfelt, depending on what you write about, you're going to get some very emotional emails from people, and you need to put that much heart back into what you reply to them. That can take a good chunk of your day. So it's one of those, well, I got to get my email list and yay, but I never have time to write back to anybody. Well, that's just rude, right? Like if someone takes the time to write to you, you should be responding back and having that dialogue and conversation. So that's why I say, don't even worry about that piece until you got this piece under control, because it takes time to nurture that conversation. And then nurturing them builds better rapport, better trust, so that when you do recommend products to them, they're more likely to buy them. If you do launch a product, they're likely to buy it. Oh, FedEx outside my door. My dogs are going to bark here in a minute. And so forth. So year one, focus on everything. I just started year 3. So we started in December of 2018. So really we're 2 full years plus a few months. I didn't start my faith email list until this past November. Ding dong. Okay, just leave it on the doorstep. And I'm already up to 2,000 subscribers, and they're engaged because literally I clean my list every week of cold subscribers, unconfirmed, and all that. Evie. So, but I'm telling you, with a 2,000 list, I get a lot of email replies. So every day I have to take about an hour, sometimes 2. And that's all I do for that hour or 2 is reply to all those emails. So that takes time. And that's why I say, don't start it from day one. You don't even have a plan. When you have a plan and you have actionable steps, you know what steps you need to take, the fruit's just going to be falling off the tree by the end of it. And I can be a testament to that. I'm not going to say you're going to make $10,000 overnight. I'm never going to tell you that, right? It takes work. Nothing's going to happen overnight. But here I am starting year 3. I took off the last 2 weeks to remodel my backyard, build a garden. Literally my entire backyard is landscape now. I would respond to stuff on here because I have my phone on me, just because I didn't want to leave people hanging. But I was not here at my computer for 2 full weeks. I didn't worry. When I came back, my stats showed 200 more visitors than 2 weeks ago when I left. New visitors came to my site during that time, right? That's the beauty of SEO. So if you're stressed out now, it's because you're doing too many things. Focus on the things that matter. And in a year to 2 years, whatever, you're going to have so much time on your hands. Like some days I sit down thinking, and then I'm like, oh, wait, I don't have anything to do today. Like I got to think of stuff to do. And that's a great thing, because then you can think of other projects that you can do, other components. I'm not really care about building a social following. It's just not something that's part of my plan yet. But the other things that I want to do, I now have time to start. Mine is building other websites. So now I have time to do that. So when people see me and they're like, how do you have time? Because I'm always like, hey, this is what I did. And they're like, how do you have time to do all that? It's because in my first year, I planted the right seeds and I spent all my time focused. Any task I sat down to do, I asked myself, how is this bringing traffic to my site? If it's not, and when I say traffic, I don't mean like one visitor. I mean, is this going to be fruitful traffic for the long haul? And if the answer was no, I tossed it aside and I didn't do it. So that's what you have to do. Focus everything for one, but then get really disciplined to the things that really, really matter, and tune out all the noise, meaning everybody saying, you got to do this. And ooh, here's the newest thing that's going to launch your blog into, space. And just stay focused on your goal. And a year from now, you'll start seeing the fruits before a year, but at the year mark of solid SEO, you'll see a noticeable jump. all of my students who've gone through past either the boot camp or did the courses on their own, they all report at about the 1 year mark of solid SEO writing. So they're trekking along little by little, and then at that year mark, it goes up and then it starts again. So 1 year is kind of the sweet spot. At that point, you'll start noticing significant gains. And it's simply because those posts that were already ranking now start ranking for a variety of keywords, not just the one that you were shooting for. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. I know it's hard. There's so many things coming at us, social media and email and this and that, and I gotta be here and I gotta be there. But the amount that you get back from those things is very minimal in the long haul, right? SEO is like, what do they call them? Plants that come back every year, annuals. Like you chop them down, they still come back. Like it's like continuous forever. I mean, I have content from literally our first year that I haven't even updated or touched. It's still bringing thousands of visits a month. It's not even that great of content. Like I really want to go update it, but it was written for SEO. And of course, things change from year to year and you got to keep up with that. But it's very easy to rank content, especially in the faith realm. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing that we're not competitive. It's good for us. But eventually, I mean, the goal is that no matter what you search, a kingdom blogger, which is all of you, all of us, is filling that front page. And Crosswalk, and I believe, is on page 2. So it can be done. It just takes a little focus. So, okay, I'll get off my SEO bandwagon. Anybody else have questions?
Okay, so when you're answering emails, Lynn, and you know, I'm not concerned about that right now, but you're answering your emails. Now, take for instance, you have 20 emails to return. Is that on just, can you do that in just one letter to everyone, or does each person have to have a different letter?
Well, each person's going to write you something different.
Right.
Somebody might just say, thank you so much. So here's one I got this week. My May Bible reading plans went out last week. And I got an email and the topic for May was trusting God through the storm or something. I think that's what it was. Learning to trust. That's what it was. And I got this email from this lady. She's like, you know, that was perfect timing. This past week, you know, I've been having a really hard time trusting God because so many bad things have happened in my life. And then today you're trusting God. So what I say back to her is going to be different than someone else who says, I got your Bible coloring pages and they're absolutely, you know, adorable, or, you know, so you can't do a blanket letter.
That's a lot of work.
Don't be the president that just prints it out in bulk and signs his name. He doesn't even sign it. It's like a stamp, right? Don't be that guy. Like, okay. And that's why I say, Joyce, when you get to that point that you start getting, it'll slowly trickle. You'll get 1 or 2 and you'll be like, oh my gosh, somebody wrote back to me. And they're like, I went looking for whatever and I found your post, right? That's how it begins. And next thing you know, you log in, there's like 20 emails and you're like, oh, I guess I'm not going to the park today, right? Like, and the more you get, now eventually once you get to bigger traffic, maybe if you do ads, you monetize, you could pay somebody to do that, or pay somebody to do another task so that you can respond, right? I mean, it's you they're writing to, right? So, but yeah, every person's gonna write you something different, a different heartfelt thank you, or how what you gave them impacted their life, or what's been on their mind, or whatever. And so each person requires a personal response. It's a lot.
It is, you know, but thank you, because you said no question is silly. And I thought that was a silly question.
Yeah, no question is silly at all. It's, okay. But that's, like I said, that's one of the reasons I tell people don't even start that email list, because once you open the floodgates, it's like when you wish for something and then you get it, but you weren't prepared for it, right? Like, take the time so that you are prepared when those floodgates of emails open. There's some days I don't get my list of to-do done because I have so many emails to respond to, and I want to respond with an heart, not just oh, thanks for responding, or thanks, glad you liked it. that's just rude. Like they poured out their heart to me. I need to at least send back a paragraph, you know, or something. So it does take a good chunk of your time, and more so as your blog grows, it will, to where you will have to eventually hire someone to help you.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
Okay, I got Graves to Gardens over here. I'm about to start humming it for y'all. Y'all need to ask some more questions. My dogs will start howling when I sing. Leslie, Lisa, did you guys have anything? Water's out. I don't know if they're listening.
No, ma'am, I didn't have anything. I just wanted to listen in today.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Megan, did you have any other questions?
Of course, I have like a million if you really want to.
Dominate the conversation. If anybody else needs to interject, just interject.
One other thing that I've been actually like having a little bit of confusion with is as far as like follow and no follow links and index and non-index pages. So I know that you had said like if you're putting an affiliate link, you always make it like a no follow. Now, if I have pages that are like resources or like freebies that are on my blog, I've been making that no follow. Is that correct also? Or should that be like follow?
Okay, so no follow is specifically for links. So you put a link in a post and you don't want the crawler to crawl that one link in the post. No index is for the post itself, the URL. So if you had like a password protected resource page for your subscribers, that would be no index. So Google's not going to index that URL because, well, it's password protected, right? You don't want it to show up in search results. If you have content that's not necessarily password protected, but it's something that you just put together and has zero SEO value, like a resource page or something like that, or you create custom landing pages for, say, a product or an opt-in on your blog, no SEO value, so you don't want that piece to sort of apply to your overall SEO grade, so to speak, then those pages would be no index because you don't want them to show up in Google results. And they probably wouldn't anyway because there's no value. But the more content on your site that you have with no SEO value, that actually makes it harder for your good content to rank, right? Because of all your content, you want most of it to have SEO value. So those that you create with no value, make them no index so they don't count towards your score. But you want to be very minimal with those. Now on the no index, when you, if in Gutenberg, it'll say no index, no follow, no this, no that, no whatever. It's saying don't index this page and for the crawlers not to crawl the links. But if the index, if it's not indexed anyway, the crawlers can't crawl the links. I just check them all. But that's only applicable to those types of pages. Generally speaking, if you have resource type pages, see if there's a search volume for what's offered in it, right? Like I have my Bible study, Bible verse coloring pages. People actually search for that. So I SEO'd that page. And now that is actually one of my top traffic pages. I have other things that you would consider a resource page, but they're actually SEO'd like a blog post. And so people don't just look for how-tos, they also look for resources. So whatever resource you're offering, see if there's search volume for it and draft that page in a manner similar to how you would do a blog post. It's just on a page, not a post. And that way you can maybe get some organic traffic to it as well.
Okay. All right. And one of my other questions is, I keep getting this thing when I do run those like audits and stuff, that there is, I guess, a page that I deleted in the past. And it keeps telling me that I have something in my sitemap that is a 404 or whatever, a 4 thing. And it keeps telling me. Now, when I was reading through Jetpack, because I have Jetpack, and it said that it automatically updates my sitemap. Like one of the things it says, like, you don't have to resubmit your sitemap. We automatically do it for you. Is this like an issue that should eventually get resolved over time? Or is this something that I actually need to kind of pursue and like fix something?
So the thing that's getting the 404, was it a like a blog post or URL or something?
I think it was a page. I think it was like a page that I previously had. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything that you delete, you know, Google went by one day and that street was there, or that house was there. And then it came by today and the house has been demolished. There's like no house there. And it's like, hey, there was a house here yesterday. It's not here. So it's going to keep registering that 404 usually. So like my students, when we go through that part of the course, they end up deleting a lot of stuff and they have red. And everyone has reported between about 3 to 4 months max is when all that red finally falls off.
Okay.
So now when you're initially trying to establish SEO, that's fine. Like your spring cleaning, Google really doesn't know what you are anyway. So you can make all that red and then it'll go. Now, once your SEO takes effect a year from now or whatever, you don't want to do that because then it could interrupt the progress. But in the early stages, yeah. But if you get in the habit, if you're going to delete something, see if there's a way you can repurpose it into something else versus deleting the page altogether, or set up an automatic redirect for all 404s. I think Yoast free version might let you do that. I don't know. Otherwise, it's the paid version. If you use Rank Math, it's automatic. It redirects it for you.
I have Rank Math actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anything you delete with Rank Math, it should prompt you to create a redirect for it.
Okay.
So yeah. And you can create a permanent 40, like anything that if it does have a 404 error, that it won't go to 404, it goes to a page that you create. And that way you don't have those errors. But if you delete, like there's posts that I've deleted, I'll just redirect it to the home page, just so it's not a 404.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said, you really hit the nail on the head, is because, you know, like you were saying, everybody kind of starts out blogging thinking like, oh, people are going to actually care if I sit there and write about my day. And it's like, the more you do it, I mean, I've been blogging for a few years, but not like I'm blogging now, you know, it was more like telling a story or whatever, or like, hey, my kids did this, and where now it's like, I'm starting to really understand that like you can be a good writer, but still a really bad blogger.
Yes.
Because they're so different. So now I'm trying to really focus on, like you say, the search query and all this. And so there were definitely things that I went back and was like, this is so irrelevant, or like, no one's going to be searching for this. So yeah, like you said, spring cleaning, like I totally, you know, went back and just deleted a bunch of things that I was like, no one's going to be searching for this. Like, this is like probably bringing my site down versus actually adding to it. So I think that is why I had some things like that, some different issues. One other thing that keeps telling me something that I guess, and this I am like so completely lost on. Some of my pages are like HTTP and some are HTTPS. And it's saying like, if I'm linking to the opposite one, it's like giving me like a warning, like there's an issue with that.
Yeah. So do you have, so an easy way to fix that, usually your host can fix that, but they actually recommended to me, I was with SiteGround at the time, to install the Really, R-E-A-L-L-Y, Really Simple SSL plugin. And what that does, it forces the use of HTTPS for all links on your site. Okay. So if you were HTTP before and then you added the certificate later, like a lot of people did when it became mandatory, then you have multiple versions of your links running around. And so usually that plugin will fix that issue. It fixed it for mine. That as soon as I put it in, then all those HTTP versus S issues went away.
Okay, that's good to know. And so I guess my other question, so this is my last one. My other one is, and I think I had actually started asking you about this on the Facebook page, and I apologize because you asked me for like a screenshot of my thing and I just never got around to actually doing it. I keep getting these things saying that my site speed is a little slow. Now, I don't know if that's because, I mean, I live in El Salvador, and where, you know, when they're running the audit, like I know my Wi-Fi in my house isn't like top notch. So I don't know if that's affecting it or if it's just overall that, you know, I tried to delete plugins that I'm not using. Somebody had recommended to me the Nitro Pack thing.
I use Nitro Pack and it brought me up to a 98 on everything.
Okay, so I should just try to like do, I mean, I basically, you know, deleted any plugins that I really wasn't using. In the beginning, I had like, you know, all those little like social media, like like show my Facebook feed and all that, you know, stuff that I've gotten away from. Because like you said, I'm not like so determined to be like huge on social media anymore, because I found it to be so time consuming and overwhelming. And like, I'm getting like 2 or 3 people clicking from Facebook, and I'm like, why am I doing things on Twitter, on Instagram, all this stuff, and I'm getting like no return for it. I'd rather just do the SEO and really do well with that, because even with the small numbers I'm getting like, on average, I'm getting probably like 5 to 7 people finding me through SEO, and then like 2 to 5 people getting me through social media right now. Yeah. Because I have a very small following and a very small platform. But so I've gotten away from some of those things, and I've deleted those, and I put the Nitro Pack on there. So hopefully then I guess this will end up making my speed a little faster.
Yeah, so site speed is not like do all these things and you'll be perfect. There's a lot that impact site speed. One can be your host, the server of your hosting. Some are really great and optimized for speed. Others are over, how do you say, like, you know, the power grid, when everybody's like, when in the summer they say, don't wash your dishwasher and stuff late at night.
Yeah, I get you.
So it overloads the server. There are some. Bluehost is notorious for that.
I have Bluehost, so
yeah, they're one of the worst for site speeds. And then other things, I mean, your theme could impact it. If you use page builders like Elementor and things like that, that adds to the weight of the site. Things that you put on your pages. Now, using Gutenberg versus Classic, Gutenberg makes it pages load faster. There's less scripting. There's just a lot of things. So like, not all websites, if you do this, this, and this, like that's going to fix you, right? So it's individual, each site and everything you have on it. But then beyond that, let's see. So site speed, I'm sorry, your server, your hosting server, your page builders, your actual theme itself, plugins that you use, all of those impact it. I had done everything possible and went bare minimum, and I was still having some minor issues. And Google keeps rolling out these core web vitals updates, which also impact speed. Things, how your site loads on a desktop versus how it loads on mobile. Very important that mobile is perfect, because that's what it prioritizes. So checking your site as a user from your phone is very important. And scroll through your site, see how fast things are loading. Things like carousels, the widget for a carousel, a slider, slow things down. If you're an Amazon affiliate and you put the native ads where it's at the bottom, it'll list like 3 products or whatever. I had those on mine, and the pages that had them were loading much slower than everything else. I took all those off and just used the link text. So there's a lot of different things, but once I did the Nitro Pack, and I used the paid version, simply because I have so much content, it brought my score up like almost immediately. It took them like 24 hours to go in and do their thing. And now I pretty much am at about a 96 for mobile and like a 98 for desktop. So I'm in the green. Yeah. So
let me ask you, so I know you mentioned theme. Now it keeps telling me that my theme has a newer update. I haven't updated it yet, because it also keeps telling me, like as a warning, if you go ahead and update this theme, you may lose some of the changes that you've made, or like your edits to the theme or whatever. And I'm just like petrified to do it, because I finally got my site looking how I like it. And I'm like, I don't know.
If you're with Bluehost, you should have 24-hour backups with Bluehost in your cPanel. So just do the update. That's it. Actually updating your theme and all of that is important, because each new update with your theme there's a lot of stuff in it to help keep up with the newer whatever security and all of that. So do it, and then go and check your blog, look for any issues. And if you find something you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Go into your cPanel and restore it from the backup. I actually did that one time, not with my theme, but I updated another plugin that was having issues. It was social warfare like 2 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do to my site? And I was like, oh wait, I have backup. And so I went in, I was with SiteGround, but their cPanel is pretty similar to Bluehost because I used to use them. and you can restore your full site from that backup. So just have time. In other words, like don't do it and then be like, I'll get around to it to the weekend, because it may just be a 24-hour backup.
Okay, well, that's good, because yeah, it's like I just spent so much time changing it and making it like how I like it and getting everything like, and then it was like, you need to update. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. I'm going to lose everything. So I'll go ahead and do it though. And I'll see what happens. And hopefully I can just adjust things and get it back to how I like it. So
yeah, that's a good thing with most servers. They give you the free 24-hour backup. So just again, do it and then check it right away and then go in.
Yes, I will. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And don't publish any new posts while you're working on it. Like that way
Right.
the backup will be the last version before you made the update.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I think those were all of my questions. So I really appreciate it. This has been so helpful.
Yeah, no problem. We're here every Friday.
Yes, I will try. I've been trying for so long to make it, and it's just been like crazy. But now that I'm going to try to make more time for this, because it's really so helpful. I really appreciate it.
So we do alternate. So this week was at noon. Next week it'll be at 10 a.m. and it's Central Time. So
cool. All right, great. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Anybody else have anything? I had a lot of good questions today. So it'll take me about an hour to process this, but the replays will be uploaded into our group in the guides. Actually, I was so behind. I'm such a slacker. Under guides, oh wait, that's the wrong one. Hold on, let me make sure before I say this. If I can get Facebook to load, oh my gosh. Could you be any slower? It's kind of scary. Facebook must be updating something, which is not a good idea.
Right.
Okay, so if you go to guides, blogging chat. So I'm actually, so this last one, this is the last one I'm going to upload by itself. This is the actual playlist for all of our Friday chats. So once I upload it to YouTube, it'll be the next one. When you go, just click on it. So this should be on YouTube by this afternoon. And so all of our chats in order. So when I upload today's, it'll be at the one at the top. It's just easier for me to do it that way than trying to upload every single one. So those will be uploaded by this afternoon. And then I guess that's all I have today. All right, well, if nobody has anything else, then you guys have a wonderful weekend. Next week will be May already. And then I will see you all, well, I'll see some of you on Wednesday and everyone else I'll see next Friday. All right, bye.